Class of 2021, welcome to your senior year. Today's video is all about the college application process. Mr. Gist and I are here. We're going to show you a few websites to help you through your process. We're going to give you all of the information you need, and we're also going to keep that information readily available to you on your Class of 2021 Google Classroom, as well as our wonderful new counselor website. The first thing you need to know when applying to college is that there are multiple ways for you to apply. You can go directly to a college's website to apply, and that college may or may not have their own direct application. Many of them will. You can use that direct application. Some of them will also have the option of common application, using the Common App. You can use that as well. Colleges do not have a preference as to how you apply. If they offer both options, they look at those applications equally. Some schools only have the common application, so you need to be mindful of that as well. The caveat with Common App is that it is a lot of work. So, common application only makes sense if you have multiple schools that you are applying to that accept the Common App. So I want you to do your research. Think about the schools that you're going to apply to. Check out their application process. See if they have a direct application. See if they accept Common App. You can even go to the Common App website. Check their list of schools. It's over 500 schools. See which of those schools you are thinking about applying to. If you have about 3 to 5 schools on Common App, you're going to go ahead and do the Common App. If you have even one school that only accepts Common App, you're going to go ahead and do the Common App, okay? When starting your Common App, there is a website you can go to. It will give you the directions, commonapp.org. You are simply creating an account once you get there. It is up to you to use I would use your personal email, not your school district email, because you know that after you graduate, you will lose access to that school district email. So everything you do college related, please use your own personal, professional email address. All right, so you're going to create your account with Common App if you haven't done that already. Inside Common App, you will select the school that you want to apply to. There will be some generic sections that will go to every school, and that does include your essay. So you want to make sure that in your generic essay, you do not mention any school, any one particular school, because you need to know that all of your colleges that you apply to through Common App will see that essay. You will complete your generic, your general piece for yourself. There is a fee waiver section. Please complete that fee waiver section so that you do not have to pay for each of your applications. When you complete that fee waiver section, you will indicate that you are eligible because you received free lunch here at FLC and because you received an SAT or ACT fee waiver. So please, please, please make sure you do that fee waiver section. You will also have to indicate a counselor. Mr. Gist is your counselor if your last name begins with letters A through L. I am your counselor if your last name begins with M through Z. You need to use our Philadelphia School District emails. Again, those are on the website, mcondit@philasd.org. Mr. Gist is agist@philasd.org. You know who your counselor is based on the last name of your letter. However, if you are someone who has a tight relationship with me and your last name begins with a C, you can still use me in your Common App if you would prefer that I write your letter of recommendation. The reverse is true for Mr. Gist. If you are someone who has a close relationship with Mr. Gist and your last name begins with R or S, he will still accept you and write your letter of recommendation for Common App. So you know who your counselor is officially, but you also know who you have developed a relationship with over the last 3 to 4 years. Please know that we still value our relationships with you more than we value the letter that your last name begins. And we're at school. I know you miss it. I know you miss those bells. So there you go. First bell of the year. Common App is one way to apply. Like I said, the alternative is that you go directly to a school's website and you choose their direct application. If you choose their direct application, you simply create an account with that application. You are going to be creating a lot of usernames and passwords. Please write them down somewhere. Keep them someplace safe so that you can refer to them. Otherwise, you are going to spend countless hours resetting passwords, and recovering usernames. So keep track of that. Once you have applied online directly to a school, we also need you to then access Naviance. You guys are all very familiar with logging into your FLC account by now. So we would need you to log into your FLC account, go to your message center, and that is where you see all of your icons. Naviance, you should all be familiar with as well. Once you get into that Naviance icon, it is the sort of greenish and black screen, right, with a star in the middle. Once you get into that Naviance screen, this is what your home screen looks like. What we are most interested in now is this colleges I'm applying to. I'm going to take you a little closer. All right, now that we got you a little bit closer, we can start part 2 here. So once you are in your Naviance screen, you are going to look under My Favorites. There is colleges and colleges I'm applying to. You need to click on that there go your bells again. I know you love them. Colleges I'm applying to, click on that link. Once you're in this screen, there is a bright pink circle with a plus sign, a white plus sign in the middle. You're going to go ahead and click on that plus sign, and that's going to bring you here where you can add your college. First thing you're going to do is click under which college are you applying to and start typing. As you start typing, it will populate colleges that are in the Naviance system. Once you get it, like Mr. Gist right now is doing Community College of Philadelphia. Once it pops up, you want to click on that. Down here under application type, you're going to want to click on that and see what the options are. For CCP, rolling is the only option. Once you go, and then you'll go down to I'll submit my application. Direct to the institution, again, is the only option for CCP, right? So that is what we're going to choose. And then you're going to indicate if you've submitted your application already, just to light a fire under us. And then you're going to add and request transcript. You are currently requesting your initial transcript. And we are not worrying about SAT scores this year. So we are not clicking anything about SAT scores. And then you can request and finish. Okay, now I'm going to take Mr. Gist into another school like Temple. Let's go ahead and add a second school. Let's do Temple University. The reason I'm selecting Temple is because I know that Temple has 2 ways to apply. They have a direct application and they accept the Common App. I need you guys to be very, very aware of that when you are entering a school. Here under application type, rolling is November 1st. Recognize that they also have regular decision, which is March 1st. So my guess would be that rolling, if you apply before November 1st, because that's rolling, you're going to get a decision as your application gets processed. If you apply after November 1st, you will not receive a decision until after March 1st, because they are going to wait until all of the applications come in and then start making decisions. So we're going to pick rolling, because we're going to be on the ball this year. We're going to get all our applications in as soon as possible, and then you have to choose how are you submitting your application. If you don't know yet how you are going to submit your application, do not request a transcript. If you tell us that you are applying through Common App and then you apply directly to the school, we cannot send your transcript and your application will be at a standstill. You must know how you are applying to the school before you request the transcript. So, if you are going to apply directly on Temple's website, go ahead and choose that. If you are applying via Common App, go ahead and choose that. But you must choose how you are applying in order for us to be able to send your transcript. And then you go through the similar process of adding and requesting the transcript. Please do this for every school that you are applying to. This is where we, as counselors, will be able to assist you best. Knowing what schools you have applied to, knowing whether you have applied Common App or Direct, and being able to send your materials, including your transcript, which no application is complete without. Once you get those applications in, it is going to be a little bit of time before you will hear back. So you will be mindful about keeping track of all of the requirements for each application you submit. You need to be mindful of all of your deadlines. Each college has its own set of deadlines. There is not a universal deadline for each application, for each college. There are not universal deadlines for financial aid for each college. So you must be on top of all of your deadlines for all of your schools. Remember all of your usernames and passwords, please. And keep in touch with your counselors. Let us know, hey, look, I did this. I put my schools in there. Can you send my transcripts? Am I good? Follow up with us. Make sure we are all on the same page. Make sure you're getting things done on your side, and feel free to check in with us to make sure we are getting things done on our side. We're going to pause there for a minute, and then we're going to come back and talk about how you choose.
All right, FLC seniors, welcome to part 3 of our Applying to College and Financial Aid session. I'm just going to talk to you all briefly regarding your college picks. So Ms. Condon already went over the actual application process and how you actually request your transcript from us. So the next part that we're going to talk about is just in terms of how do you actually pick schools. Our recommendation primarily is that you have to start with research. You know, that's going to be the most important aspect of this entire process, is to do your research. Everything is virtual now. You guys are at home. There are virtual college fairs. You can look on the websites and find out as much as you possibly can about these schools so you can make an informed decision. So you want to utilize that time to do such. As such, we want you guys to apply to a minimum of 6 to 9 colleges is where we like to see you at. And within those 6 to 9 colleges and universities, we like to break them up a little bit. So you have your top tier, which we sometimes will say like your top choice or your reach schools. So with those top schools, you say, you know, I may be able to afford this tuition for this particular school, and I may get into this college, but we're still going to take a shot because these are your reach schools or your top choices. So you'll have about 3 or so of those schools, 3 or 4 of those schools that you're going to apply to. If you say, hey, if I get into this school, it'd be, you know, my dream come true. This is a school I've always admired and looked at. You know, a family member went here, but these will be your reach schools. So you may not actually know how, you know, you would actually get into that school, but you're still going to apply to that school. And then you have kind of like your intermediate schools that more than likely, if you are getting admission to those schools, you think that you meet their criteria, and that you also could probably swing the tuition. So those are your intermediate schools. So we have our reach schools first, which are schools that you're reaching for. That the tuition, you say, oh, I'm not quite sure how I will be able to afford that, or if I quite meet the criteria, but you're still going to apply because you've always admired that school or because of the major or the programs for that particular school. Then we have our second tier, which are our intermediate or moderate schools, where I know that I probably meet their criteria and their tuition is a little bit lower, and I think that I could afford that school if I got into it. And then we have our last tier, which are kind of what we call like our safety net schools. So our safety net schools are schools that when you look at your transcript, your grades, you know that you meet their criteria, and also their tuition is low enough where you know that you could meet that requirement. So for a top tier school, then an example of that may be University of Pennsylvania. So you may say University of Pennsylvania's tuition is really high. I may not be able to afford it, so that would be an example of your reach school, top tier school. Your intermediate schools, an example of those would be your 14 state schools. So you have like your Millersville, your Shippensburg, Kutztown. Those are going to be your intermediate schools. And then your safety schools would be a school such as Community College of Philadelphia. That would be a school where you know that you probably meet the criteria. If you get in, because of the cost of the tuition, you could afford it. We want you to apply to no less than 4 to 5 schools. Our goal is that you apply to 6 to 9, but 4 to 5 should be a good target that you're looking for. And additional, please, I want to reiterate, please make sure that you visit these schools virtually and you go onto their websites and you learn as much as you possibly can about those schools. That's going to help you as well, because if someone calls you from this particular school and asks you about the school, you want to be able to speak informed about why you actually applied to the school, not just, you know, I heard of the name and I did so. So research is the key, especially given where we are right now.
At research, we are going to have some virtual college information sessions. So we have some of our representatives that reach out to FLC every year. Usually they come into our building, they sit down with you guys if you're interested in that school. They give you all the information about their school, give you an opportunity to ask some questions. This year it's going to look a little different. It's all going to be through Zoom. We will make those Zoom links available to you once you've registered for the session. So, college information sessions will be announced again through Google Classroom, Class of 2021, and on our counselor website. We will have a list of the college, of the day and time that they will be presenting, and there will be a link to a form for you to sign up, indicating that you are interested in this college and that you would like to participate in the Zoom meeting. Once you complete that form to register, you will receive an email with a link to the Zoom. Please do not share that link outside of FLC. These information sessions are specific to you guys and for you as seniors at FLC, so we don't want to share that with anyone else. The other thing that I need you to be mindful of, and I'm sure you're already doing this for your classes, is that your Zoom account needs to indicate your full name, because we will have a screening process where we are looking to see who has registered. We are making sure that those people clicking on the Zoom link are in fact our FLC seniors, and then you will be able to enter into the Zoom meeting. So again, please make sure your full name is showing up as your Zoom account so that we know it is you, in fact, trying to get into the meeting and that you belong. All right, that's it for the information sessions. I suppose we'll pause there for a minute and we'll be right back.
All right, FLC seniors, we're back with part 4 of our workshop series. Just 2 things we're going to cover in this particular section. One is test optional schools. So test optional schools are schools that provide an alternative pathway to admission to their school other than an SAT or an ACT. So those are tests, that's the definition of test optional schools. Given where we are now in our country, more and more schools are going test optional. Because of that, what we've done is on our website, we've also put the link to www.fairtest.org, which is actually behind me. And you can see the list of test optional schools is huge. So we want to make sure that you're doing your research and you're looking at schools. So even if you log into a particular school, because remember, these students are applying from all over the country and all over the world sometimes, I want to make sure that you look and see the test optional schools. So for example, Temple was always a big school that had traditional pathways through SAT, through ACT, but they also had a test optional pathway as well. A lot of schools now that traditionally did not have that test optional pathway do have it now as well. So I want to make sure that you're looking at this. This list is vast. Go to our website so that you can pull that up so that you can see these schools that are test optional. And given where we are, most students are going to be applying test optional. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about briefly is NCAA eligibility. If you plan on being a student athlete in a Division I or II college, you must register with the NCAA Eligibility Center at www.eligibilitycenter.org. You also must let myself or Ms. Condit know that that is your intention as well. So that goes out for all of our student athletes. If you plan on playing as a student athlete in Division I or Division II, you want to make sure that you register. Ms. Condit has been kind enough to put the website behind me. So you want to go to this website and you want to register, and then you need to let either one of us know as well. And we're going to pause now and get into our next section in another minute.
All right, so we are going to do a brief introduction into financial aid. Once the financial aid application becomes available, we will have an in-depth explanation presentation, step by step, as to how you complete your FAFSA and your FIA. But today I just want to kind of brief you on where you're headed. The primary way to apply for financial aid is through FAFSA, which stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Notice I started with the word free. Please do not pay any site in order to process your FAFSA. In order to get to the FAFSA site, you do have to go to FAFSA.gov, all right? FAFSA.gov, not FAFSA.com. FAFSA.com will rip you off, charge you money. You will not be able to get it back. All right, so please, please, please make sure you are on the government website of FAFSA. Once you are there, you will again have to create an account. You will have to log in, all that good stuff, right? So please keep track of this information. The application for your financial aid year, which is 2021 to 2022, does not become available until after October 1st. Please do not go to the FAFSA website now and start an application. You will be applying for the current year. You do not need financial aid to attend FLC. After October 1st, as I said, we will give you a detailed presentation of what is required of you to complete your FAFSA. For now, know that it is coming. Know that you will need your parents or your guardian, your parents, essentially. If you are in a special circumstance where you are living with a guardian, they are not responsible for you financially. You need to speak to myself or Mr. Gist if you are in some kind of circumstance where you do not live with your biological or adoptive parent, because we can help you through this FAFSA process. Again, you will still be eligible for FAFSA, but if you have any kind of circumstances, you will reach out to us. We will help you through the process. The one thing you can do now is create your FSA ID. So you will go to the FSAID.gov website and you can create your username and password. You will need a username and password, and one of your parents will need a username and password. So you will have to do this process for yourself, and your parent will have to do the process for them. If they trust you enough, maybe you will help them through it. But you do need a username and password for yourself, one for your parent. That is what you will use to log into your FAFSA account. It is also what you will use to sign for your FAFSA. That is the federal financial aid, and that is also what a lot of colleges use to gauge what you are eligible for from their private money. So please, again, be mindful that this needs to be completed. The state application is linked at the end of your FAFSA. You will be able to click a link to get to your PHEAA, P-H-E-A-A. That is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. You, again, want to complete that. This is another way for you to get some money that you do not have to pay back for college. That application cannot be completed until you complete your FAFSA. So you will complete your FAFSA. At the end of FAFSA, you will link to your PHEAA, and you will complete your PHEAA. If for some reason you miss that link, you'll be able to go back in and create a PHEAA account. We'll get to all of that when we do our financial aid in depth. The other thing that is required by many schools is the CSS profile. The CSS profile is available through the College Board website. It is not required by all schools. However, the schools that do require it have a lot of private money of their own school money to give you. So if you are applying to a Drexel or a University of Penn, you will be required to complete the CSS profile, and based on your CSS profile, that college will then determine how much money they are willing to give you in scholarships and grants. So it is a very important component to your application if your school requires it. I have created on this page, and it will be available to you on the website, a link of all of the schools that require the CSS profile. You also can check each school's website for financial aid deadlines, as well as for their requirements, whether or not they require the CSS. Every school requires FAFSA and FEA. All right. In addition to that financial aid piece from the government, both federal and state, and from the individual schools, you can also apply to scholarships outside of those entities. There are multiple websites that you can go to search for scholarships. Mr. Gist and I will post any local scholarships that come our way on our website, as well as in the Google Classroom. So scholarships, while we will make them available, it is your responsibility to seek them out, to apply for them on your own, to do the research. Go to Scholly-App, go to goingmerry.com. Check out the links that we give you to do some research to see the scholarships that are going to be beneficial for you, the ones that you think you have a shot at, and get those applications in. The sooner, the better. Go ahead.
So just lastly, to finish up with the process, we talked about financial aid and the different ways that you're going to apply. We also talked about the different scholarships, engines that you can use to search for scholarships. The last part to actually have your application submitted is going to be your fee waiver. So students often ask us about the fee waiver, so we want to make sure we cover that really briefly. We're going to post on our website, on the council website, the NACAC fee waiver. It'll be posted with our information already pre-populated into those fields. Once you fill out, you're going to download that form, and then you're going to email it back to us. and then that is what we will use to submit for your NACAT fee waiver. Most schools will accept the NACAT fee waiver. The waivers can be like we said, can be found inside the Google Classroom and on our website. There are some exceptions to NACAT, which is going to be Pitt, U of Arts, East Stroudsburg. You'll email us for a code. Penn State. Once you apply to Penn State, you would email us for your with your PSU ID, and then we'll submit your fee waiver there because it's a little bit different. Some schools have a code, but also if you're going to go through the Common App, then you don't need a fee waiver because the Common App is already going to be your fee waiver. So you're going to use these fee waivers for schools where you are applying direct to the institution. If you're applying through Common App, you're not going to need the fee waiver. The fee waiver is actually built into the Common App, so you don't need to request one from us. However, if you're applying direct to the institution, then that's when you'll reach out to us and tell us that you need a fee waiver for the application. All right? So I know we covered a lot of information. We wanted to make sure we gave you just an overview of this process. Please know that obviously we're going to be here to support you throughout this whole process. The most important thing now is to make sure that you're coming in, you're doing your work, and just to be in contact with us.
And go to our website. We worked really hard on our website. We want you to utilize it. Use all of the links, get all of the information, use our emails. Please remember we are FLC. We are not checking our FLC emails any longer. So please, 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 FLC classrooms, FLC emails. Reach out to us, let us know. We will give you, also post some links. You can request appointments now if you like through the links that you already have access to. And then we will also try to create some office hours and all that good stuff. But everything that we roll out is going to be on our website. Please, please, please check it often. Utilize it. Utilize us as much as possible. Have a great year. We miss you guys. I know you miss us so much. And, air hugs and all that good stuff. And we will hopefully see you back in this building very, very soon.